Steve Moore is with the Ukraine Freedom Project, and he joins us now from Kyiv. Steve, your organization produced a documentary called A Faith Under Siege about the persecution Ukrainian Christians are facing right now from Russian forces. Tell us what it's like for churches in the occupied territories, the areas controlled by the Russians.
Well, yeah, Putin has tried for 10 years to take over Ukraine, and he's got about 18%. And what most of your viewers probably don't know is that Ukraine is a highly functioning country outside of that 18%. Where Putin controls, the worst things in the world are happening, and they're happening to Ukraine's Christians. So Putin has shut down every church in occupied Ukraine that he does not control. He has killed, our movie, A Faith Under Siege, documents 47 cases of pastors and priests being killed. It's up to about 60-something now. And so, Putin is not stopping. And these peace negotiations are not about land. They're not about territory. They're about people. And there's nearly 3 million Christians who live in occupied Ukraine who can't go to church like me and you, and Putin wants more.
Yeah. On that very point, Putin keeps sending drones and missiles. Yesterday was a massive attack. Do you think he really wants peace?
No, not a chance. Putin wants to put together the Soviet Union. He wants to rebuild the Soviet Union. And if anyone had any doubt about that, then, you might have looked at his foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, and his choice of attire. He wore a sweatshirt that said, in the Russian letters, USSR on it. And, he did this whole video thing walking around Anchorage in this T-shirt that says USSR. And so, it's almost laughable to think that Putin is a, good faith partner on peace, because he's continuing to kill children. He's continuing to traffic children out of Ukraine. And it's just not, you can't take him seriously.
Yeah. Ukrainians, obviously, Steve, want this war to end. What kind of peace is acceptable to them?
Well, nobody wants to give up any territory. They particularly don't want to give up any territory that Vladimir Putin has been trying for 11 years to take and has not been able to take on the battlefield. And so that being said, if there were some tight security guarantees, then I think that Ukrainians might be willing to give up some land, but certainly not going to give Putin additional land that he hasn't taken. But Putin's not serious about security guarantees. His latest obstacle to getting in dialogue with Zelenskyy is that he doesn't want any chance that Ukraine can join NATO, and he doesn't want any Western troops inside Ukraine. So where does that leave Ukraine with security guarantees? And it doesn't. Yeah. So what he wants is to take over Ukraine and the rest of Eastern Europe.
And it's so interesting. He wants the Chinese and the North Koreans, as well as his own country, to be involved in any talks about security guarantees, which is absolutely laughable. There is a segment of the population here in America who think the U.S. should not be involved in helping Ukraine defend itself. What do you say to this?
Well, we have spent $15 trillion at the DOD since Putin came into office, $15 trillion. And let's say 20% of that is gone to deter Russia. That's $3 trillion. And it hasn't worked because Russia's invaded its neighbors and caused all kinds of chaos in the world. But we've sent about $187 billion to Ukraine. And for that amount of money, the Ukrainians have taken out 1 million Russian soldiers, about 12,000 tanks, a third of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. So, what we've been doing with Russia has not been working. What the Ukrainians are doing is working against one of our long-held foes. So, it seems like a good deal to me.
Finally, how can our viewers pray and even help the people of Ukraine today?
Yeah, well, I would invite them to go to afaithundersiege.com and watch our movie, A Faith Under Siege, and forward it to their friends. Have their pastors, please, show that in their churches. We're doing a lot of work. I'm actually right now raising money for a doctor in Slavyansk who had his car and his hospital blown up. So we're trying to find him $10,000 for a car. And you can go to ukrainefreedomproject.com or for ukrainefreedomproject.org and make a donation there. And in terms of praying, just pray that I think, before we got on the air, you had a beautiful prayer. Change Vladimir Putin's heart, because that's the only person that can really bring peace. Vladimir Putin, the Lord needs to do some work inside him, and pray for that.